Welcome to another great take of the Gridiron Glory with Will Wicker here, Tad Dorsey. We're here to talk about the Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks and what took place in Week 1 of the NFL season. So Denver goes on the road. They play Seattle. Seattle does end up winning this football game 26-20. And this was the rookie debut of Bo Nix. Playing under center for the Broncos here. You have the longtime veteran Geno Smith now. Hasn't been a super flashy quarterback throughout his career, but still nonetheless a veteran quarterback who has kind of been there and done that at this point, and especially with a scenario in a game like this. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, this was a game where Seattle, in front of their home crowds, wearing the throwback jerseys, I mean, they went out there and showed who, they really were, here. So, and who they really can be, Tyler Lockett, Zach Charbonnet, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and the Jigba, all making big explosive plays at one point or another. It's also probably worth noting that the Seattle defense really came to play, especially with guys like Julian Love and Tyrell Dodson. Really, this was just a Seattle team that came ready to play, and it's not that Denver didn't necessarily come ready to play, but you would have liked to probably have seen a little bit of a better game plan from the Broncos in this football game. You probably might have liked to have seen a little bit better of maybe some clock management, some game management. Bo Nix certainly looked very good at times. But obviously the opening drive interception, and, a couple of other mistakes that he made. He did throw the 2 interceptions in this game, did not have any touchdowns. So he did rush for a touchdown, though. That is worth noting. So I was very impressed by the rushing touchdown where, he goes into the end zone in the fourth quarter. He kind of has 2 defenders coming on him. They both, they're really coming at him with full speed here, full force. So, and obviously, yep. This, my team being my team and everything. Yeah, I was impressed with how, Denver was able to come out here and at least start developing Bo Nix.
Yeah, when you're looking at a guy like Bo Nix, the touted rookie quarterback out of Oregon, he was always going to have an adjustment period in the National Football League. Oregon, they're a very college-style offense, so he needed to learn a lot of NFL concepts, and he's going to get the chance to do that this year. We'll see how Bo Nix can look in a more pro-oriented offense. You got him throwing 42 passes in his first game, a very interesting stat line there, 26 for 42, 138 yards. And, of course, that impressive rushing touchdown. So for Bo Nix, a lot of this is going to be about development and turning into a pro-style quarterback that can be productive in the NFL. And it's always interesting when you have rookie quarterbacks and when you're making decisions whether to play them, whether to let them learn on the bench. And Denver's obviously decided to give Bo Nix the chance on the field, and I think that's going to give him an opportunity to get a lot of on-the-field work. So we'll see where it goes. Certainly a lot to grow on, a lot to learn, and there were some positives for the Denver offense. I think you got to look at your rookie receiver, Devon Bailey, out of Utah. 8 catches in his first ever game for 39 yards. So they got him the ball a lot, and they see him as a playmaker that can make a lot of big plays. So we'll see just how the Denver offense continues to develop and how they look moving forward.
Yeah, I was also impressed with running back Jaleel McLaughlin in this game. Audric Estime even had a couple of interesting carries. Jaleel McLaughlin, like I said, Greg Dulcich even came back. Devon Bailey. Cortland Sutton kind of had a quiet game, but really probably the most impressive receiver to me in this game was Josh Reynolds. So this is going to be a Denver offense that's going to take some time to gel. On the defensive side of the football, I did mention, for Seattle, Julian Love and Tyrell Dodson, but for Denver, Riley Moss, Patrick Surtain, Alex Singleton, Brandon Jones. So, I mean, a Denver defense that, did give up 26 points to Seattle. So it's just one game, and, it's early. So, like I said, we'll see what Denver can do, next week against the Steelers at home in their home opener. So will Bo Nix probably be able to feed off the energy of, being in front of the home crowd and everything? That'll certainly be an interesting storyline. I mean, I'm just not going to the thing is it's kind of like last year, kind of like how you were each game you were you always clinged on to that hope and faith of Bryce Young. And I even still kind of feel like you still kind of cling on to that hope and faith of Bryce Young. And I'm not going to do that with Bo Nix. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, he's for sure going to turn into something big, because we don't know that. All we can do is take it one game at a time. And so far, off of one game, yeah, it's only one game, but it's just there's still a lot of work he needs to do as an NFL quarterback. And, so it's not the pieces around him. It's not anything like that. I mean, yeah, it's the pieces around him too. It's the coaching staff. It's everybody involved. And this thing's gonna take time with Bo Nix. I mean, I'm also not gonna sit here and just that's the whole thing with rookie quarterbacks coming out of college into the NFL. They might get all this hype. They might get all the hype in the world. They might have been one of the best college players of all time. Tim Tebow, for example. I'm a Denver fan. I think I would know how that goes. You know what I mean? Being one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever, but then you don't pan out in the NFL. I kind of do think, on a side note, that's kind of the case that's going with Bryce Young. So with that being said, I'm not going to sit here and, high sell Bo Nix by any means, because he still has a lot of work to do. And I don't think that he cannot get there by any means. No, nothing like that. It's just, it's going to take him some time if he does. So one game at a time here. We'll see how it goes next week in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And looking more at Seattle in particular, for their offense, it took them a while to get going. I mean, you had several problems early on, including the two safeties. I mean, their offense, they just didn't click right away, but it felt like once they got Kenneth Walker more involved, he carried the offense a bit with his 20 carries, 103 yards, and his touchdown run. So that was a real game changer for the offense for Seattle. And it's going to be interesting to see what we get out of Seattle. I mean, we've had ups and downs the past 2 years for Geno Smith as their quarterback. So a lot of momentum there, and he's a guy that just needs to build off of his first start of the year. So we'll just see if he can stay healthy and if he can make the plays to make Seattle a contender this year. And it's just going to be interesting to follow this football team throughout the year. And next week they'll be in New England. So we'll see how things go there. New England, they're a scrappy defensive team, not much unlike Denver. So we'll see how things go there. It's going to be interesting to follow there.
Very much so. Be sure to hit like, subscribe our page, and follow. And thank you for watching the Gridiron Glory.